you coach CrossFit and yoga?
Mm-hmm.
Which one did you start first?
Yoga.
Yoga? How long?
Like 3 years.
3 years?
I've been teaching it for 5 years. 2019, 4 years I've been teaching it.
Mm-hmm.
I started teaching CrossFit like early last year.
Okay. And how long have you been doing CrossFit?
3 years.
3 years?
I think.
Okay. And so
2020 is when I started, yeah.
Okay. And you didn't start at Subu though?
No.
Where'd you start?
Exalted in Sanford.
Oh,
have you heard of them?
Exalted. Yeah, I have. And what got you into it? Like, what was the catalyst for starting CrossFit?
So it's kind of vain, but there's always this like ideal body that you see everywhere, and it's like, how the hell does anybody get that or do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I was working at a like health and fitness fair, and there were these 3 guys standing there, and they had the body, and I was like, I'm gonna go talk to them. And they just invited me in, and I came the next week, and it was not easy, but not easy in a lot of ways. Like I'm very shy, actually, and I didn't really know what I was doing, but I wanted it. I was willing to do whatever I can to get it. So that's kind of just how it started, and it took off. You see the huge gains in the beginning, obviously, and like that's what kept me coming back every day that I came in. I could literally feel, oh, I got better, I learned something new, I got better, and that was addicting. Like that felt so good for me at the time.
Yeah, the way I got into CrossFit, it was actually supposed to be temporary.
Yeah,
I was doing MMA and jiu-jitsu, but then the pandemic happened, so couldn't do any of that. So I was like, I'll get into CrossFit just to like maintain a certain level of fitness. So when I go back, I won't be just like starting from zero again. And I just fell in love with it. Yeah. And actually all the pain that I had from doing all the jiu-jitsu and MMA stuff, the shoulders, the knees, doing CrossFit actually improved.
That's wild. That's so cool to hear.
Yeah. And I have not, ever since then, I haven't been able to stop. But I've always loved working out, especially working out with a group like you do in a CrossFit class.
The group component, the social component, it
makes a difference
so much. Yeah, so much.
And it pushes you to do those extra reps where, like, if you were working out by yourself, you're not going to push those extra 2, 3.
I did like the first half. That was more than I was going to do if I didn't come.
So you got your L1 license? Is it a license or was
certification? Yeah.
Okay. What's the process to go through that?
I took it after COVID, so there was an online option, and that's what I did. And it wasn't too difficult, I hate to say.
What is it exactly? Is it a test?
There's a written test? There's a lot of education. There's a lot of videos, a lot of reading. And then through the modules, and they break it up into sections, obviously. And through the modules, you're answering questions and you're being tested. You're not allowed to move on until you get the questions correct. But the downside to it is you can guess the question every single time, as much as you want.
It's multiple choice?
Yeah, usually. There's sometimes you have to type it in, and it's kind of frustrating because if you don't write the exact words they're looking for, you just wait until they tell you what they're looking for. Yeah. Or just keep taking a shot. But the test itself is at the end, and I think you have to also get 100% on that, or at least 90 or 80 from what I remember. I'm not sure. But same thing, you can take it as many times as you want. So that's kind of why I say it wasn't really like hard. Yeah.
And it's open book?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can look through the whole manual and you're not timed or anything?
You might be timed.
Okay.
You might be timed, but yeah. It's not really like hard stuff, but there are very specific things that they want to make sure that you know. That is CrossFit, because it is a business,
Yeah. Do you remember any of those specifics?
No. It's just specific verbiage.
Okay.
Like a lot of people know exactly the breakdown of like their recommendation of how to eat. It's like a verbatim thing that they have written out, and they want you to know that.
Got it.
I could probably try to recall it right now, but yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, I want to have like some kind of nutritionist on, or I don't know. Do you know if there's anyone in the gym that knows about how to diet? We had Nina.
Had Nina. You could still reach out to her, I'm sure. I mean, she's helped me with a lot of my nutrition, honestly. But I think there's another person I saw on our website has their the same certification as her. I don't remember who it was. It might be Maddie or Sid.
Got it.
But there's a lot of people on Instagram as well that are in our area that really very, very knowledgeable. And in my experience, so much of what is needed in the nutrition assistance is like mindset stuff, because we think we know, and maybe we just need more information as to like what's better. Like we learned that carbs aren't bad. That was a simple first step. I mean, it's not simple for everyone. Not simple for me. I didn't think I had a problem with that though until I started working with Nina, and she was like, "You need more of this." And I'm like, "Really? I thought I was having plenty." She's like, "No. How do you expect your body to perform?" I'm like, "I thought I was." I started eating more, and the performance went way up.
Yep.
I was like, "Wow." So it's still there.
How many grams did she have? Because I did Nina's program for a little bit too.
She was not prescribing me like increments, or because for me, in my, like, she was really working with the way my mind works. I don't work well with that. I feel a lot of personal pressure, and I get a lot of anxiety around it. So it was more so just eyeballing it, basing it about how I feel, how I perform, which works much better for me.
Yeah. Did she give you a daily prescription, like 300 grams or 350 grams? No? Okay.
She would say maybe a cup. If you're going to do a carb, do a cup or a half a cup for a meal. And I'm like, that's simple.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, we did actual, like, you should probably be getting 300 to 350. And then after doing it, I was like, this is a lot of carbs. And I gained a pretty decent amount of weight, but it was good weight,
Yeah.
And it does help in the gym.
Definitely.
And I miss her.
I do too. She's only a text away.
Yeah.
Or a phone call.
Yeah. So, how have you feel like CrossFit like has changed your life or helped you? Especially with your fitness as far as strength, cardio, conditioning, and your mental health.
Well, aside from taking all my money, no. CrossFit has become my favorite hobby. Like, I think people who don't really know anything about fitness or have a respect for it will look at me and think that I'm obsessed or addicted. But when you look at other people who are doing CrossFit, like, people just come into the gym every single day and they want to work on their things. And for me, it's been a really great way to, even if I'm not excelling in some other areas in my mind, I come into the gym and at least I get that done, and it just makes me feel better about myself in the moment. And that's just the honest answer. And over time, it's been one of the first expressions of discipline in my life. The first expression of commitment and consistency, and where I'm showing up every day and I have a plan, and it takes such a large portion of my value, or gives me such a large portion of my value by having that thing that I'm consistent, because I never really had that before, except yoga, and it kind of transitioned over to CrossFit. But CrossFit is much more like, there's this big science to yoga, but there's like an intricate, layered science to CrossFit, and it's just constantly like, wow, I know so little. There's still so much.
Yeah, you don't realize how much information and science there is behind CrossFit.
Yeah,
because it's combining all kinds of fitness into one.
Yeah.
From cardio to strength to, we went over it with Miguel. There's 10 skills, and it's just trying to combine all of that. And to me, it seems like there's endless possibilities for workouts. Literally
it's true.
Endless.
There should never be a moment, unless you're testing, where you're doing the same workout, because it's just, there's no reason to.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways to mix the bag. And the other thing I will say, I don't know if this is on topic or not, but when I came into CrossFit as only a yogi, I was expecting these athletes, to be super tight and like rigid, because I didn't really know what CrossFit was. I just thought it was like throwing a heavy barbell around. But CrossFitters are very mobile, even the ones that rag on themselves. Like, they have so much more mobility than I ever expected. And I didn't really realize that flexibility plus strength equals mobility, or I don't even know if that's the equation, but that's what I feel like it is. Just when watching people get to a deep squat or hold something overhead with their arms extended, because you'll see some people come into a yoga class and they can't hold their arms straight over their head because they're so tight. It's like this, and that's very common. That's what I was expecting, but like, to do CrossFit, you have you have to do it well and to feel good and to be safe and moving healthy. Like that mobility is there. I wasn't expecting that. I don't know. That was a bit of a tangent, but
yeah, no, that actually leads into the next question, because I was going to ask, like, how has it improved your yoga? And I did yoga for about a year and a half while I was doing the MMA stuff. And that definitely helped me with my mobility. But as of kind of recently, I've noticed my squat. I kind of have a yogi squat now. Like I can get in it and hold it there. And I'm also trying to do the overhead squat, but with like a narrow grip, not a snatch grip. So like a shoulder to overhead grip. I'm trying to get down in it, and I can. What's stopping me right now is my dorsiflexion in my ankles.
Okay.
I get on my tippy toes when I go down.
Yeah.
But that's better than it's ever been. Yeah. You know, my squat is better than ever, and it's from doing so many squats, so many snatch squats, so many clean squats, all of that.
If you have a coach that's not going to let you get away with not going below parallel, then that's just going to improve no matter what. And it ties in so well with the yoga, because if you can hold that weight overhead and be deep in a squat and be stable and move, like you're just setting yourself, you can feel the alignment in your body as you're moving through the lift. And it feels really, really good. But the CrossFit has helped the yoga in terms of strength for sure. Like I'm definitely doing handstands like all the time, but it also helps me to realize that yoga is not my workout as it used to be, because that was all I was doing. And now yoga has become more of a release and a mental rest and a spiritual rest and emotional like opening. And I find myself gravitating a lot more towards yin classes and
less
like
towards hot yoga.
Yeah, just like restorative. Still hot. Still hot, but I modify a lot now, and you know, I get my stimulus at CrossFit and my release from stimulus at yoga, which I feel like is just so much more like balanced and meditative.
Yeah, I definitely can see that CrossFit can help you get into those certain poses and positions and be able to hold them for a decent amount of time, you know. And I've done some yin too. Actually, yin and hot yoga were my things. And I just love it because it gets you into deep stretches. And yeah, I mean, we'll get into yoga here in a second. But do you ever program your own workouts at all? Like, have you done it long enough to where you're kind of like, oh, I feel like throwing together a workout? And
yeah, in the beginning, I definitely was. If I couldn't make it to the gym, or especially when COVID hit, I was like, I got to figure this out on my own. And it was kind of fun, but once in a while I will, just if I'm like either done with all the programming for the week and I still have energy and time, or if I'm in a moment like where I just went on vacation or right after ACC and I come back and I'm just not feeling like doing anything I don't want to do. And so then I just give myself maybe a day or 2 days to just do whatever I want. And that way it's not so much pressure. I do it for the purpose of enjoying myself. Yeah. In that way, and giving myself that it's just like a good feeling, a gratified feeling when you're choosing movements that you're good at. You exactly.
know? Yeah. Like if you're kind of like, I don't know, struggling there for a second, you can be like, well, I'm going to program a workout. You know, for me, it's going to be like thrusters, wall balls. And these are actually movements I'm good at. So I'll program movements I'm good at so I can do well. Evidently deadlifts too, because yesterday's workout.
I saw. Holy cannoli.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude.
Yeah. I did better. Like, I did better than I thought.
Yeah, you did great. Yeah. You did really great.
It was all the deadlifts. It was heavy deadlifts that slowed me down the most. Once I got to the wall, it was pretty up and down.
When I got to the wall, I just blacked out. I don't even remember, like, it was just all the deadlifts for me. Like, that was my pain and frustration. The wall walks, I was like, I'm not even here right now. I'm just thinking about having to get back to the deadlifts.
Do you have any favorite like movements?
Yes. What's your favorite love movements? Toes to bar.
Okay.
I love double unders. I love clean and jerks. I'm starting to like chest to bars a lot more. And I love like a nice medium weight snatch in a workout for reps, because I love looking around and I'm like, I'm still going.
Everyone's resting and you're just sitting there.
I love it.
Medium weight is what, like 135?
135.
Yeah,
it's like sweet spot.
135 is right there for almost too heavy for me.
Yeah.
Like I struggle with 135 in a workout.
If it was 155, I would be like,
oh yeah,
frustrated.
155, I can't do that.
Yeah.
We're nearing like 1 rep max for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any movements that you don't like?
Yeah, I hate the thrusters.
You hate the thrusters?
I hate the thrusters.
Oh man.
I'm starting to like them more, but they're like on my shit list. I don't know if I can.
You can curse.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, they're there.
What is it about the thrusters that's...
It just takes it out of me. Like, I feel while I'm doing them, I just feel very inefficient. I feel slow and tired and hot, and like I can't catch my breath. And that's a big thing for me. Like, the movements that I feel good in, I'm able to breathe really freely and continue to move. But the thrusters, I haven't figured them out yet.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of keeps you... Like, you got to get your breathing right because the bar smashes down on you.
Yeah.
Repetitively.
And when you push it up, everything is like tight and locked out. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't really know where like I can get the kind of breath I'm looking like. I want it to go down to the very bottom.
I mean, technically, I guess you're supposed to be breathing in as you're squatting down.
Yeah.
But then you're breathing in as things are, dropping you forward.
Same thing with wearing a vest or something like that. Like running with a vest, I'm always just like trying to like lift the bottom just so I can take a breath.
I do too. I actually put my thumbs inside the vest here and I push it away from me so I can just get some space to breathe.
The little cheats that we have.
Yeah, you're allowed to do it.
What about you? What's your favorite or least favorite?
I know you said running. My favorite is going to be thrusters, wall balls, deadlifts, those kinds of things. But I do have one workout that is the absolute bane to the point where I won't even do it. I'll scale the workout if I have to, or I'll change the movement. And that is box step overs with double dumbbell box.
Yeah.
I can see myself blowing out my knee.
You know what? I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I don't think they're healthy. Like, I don't think I think because the height of the box puts your knee so much higher than your hip. And with weight, I'm not a fan of this. I used to just like skip the weights or skip the box and do something different instead.
Yeah, for me it's the step down that I don't like, because you're stepping down on one leg with 100 extra pounds in your hands.
Yeah.
And I foresee just like one day I step down and something just snaps.
There's a way to do it, and maybe I don't know that way.
I should probably, instead of switching the workout and not doing them, I should scale the weight and maybe even tip the box lower.
Lower, yeah.
And just do that.
I would do it on a lower box for sure, but the 24 inches. Like
I can't be afraid to scale.
No.
There's things in CrossFit that I'm stubborn about, and I feel like it's a newbie thing. But now that I'm getting a little bit more seasoned, I feel like I can accept scaling and rest days a little bit better.
Yeah.
When before it was just like, go, 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 don't scale.
The scaling is amazing, actually, because I scaled that deadlift workout halfway through it, and I was feeling like I could probably keep going, but I was just feeling my form was starting to be sacrificed. I was getting really tired. It was just feeling like more of a one rep max each time. And when you scale, you give yourself the opportunity to meet the stimulus and therefore grow.
Exactly.
If you're spending time with a barbell that's too heavy or with a movement that you're not competent with, instead of doing the workout, you're missing the stimulus. Therefore, you're not letting your body adapt. You're just struggling for no reason.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. So let's talk about the games a little bit.
Okay.
What do you think so far as like workouts?
It's been exciting. Honestly, as I've been watching them, I've been thinking to myself, I don't know how anybody would want to make this their career, because this looks so hard, and they look like, especially, I don't know if it's the heat, but some of them have just been like struggling. I'm not a very critical person, even of movies, but of the workouts, I guess they just are what they are. You get what you get, and you got to do them to the best of your ability. But for some reason, they're definitely like knocking a lot of people in their weak spot.
Yeah. I mean, I've only been doing CrossFit. This is my third games that I'm watching. as well as the third open that I've done. And every year since then, it just seems like it's gotten harder and harder and harder and harder. So this year, I mean, that pig flip workout.
Oh my gosh.
Just looked absolutely horrible.
Yeah. You know,
and I think someone finished, I think Horvath finished in like 14 minutes.
So what was so cool about that was that they never said her name one time. You didn't see her. They're only showing the two that are racing through the gymnastics and the wall balls. And then out of nowhere, she comes in to the pig and she just snipes the field. Just boom, boom, boom. Like she was not pressed and she had it. And that is why I like to watch, because the workout seems impossible when everybody is struggling because they didn't strategize it properly, or maybe it's just their part of their weaknesses or something like that. But then when you see one person pull ahead like that, it's like that's why they made this for that person there to show, to express that strength.
Exactly, and
such a good.
That's in Horvath's wheelhouse. She's definitely one of the strongest. CrossFitters on the women's side.
She is, and I just love her face. Like while she's doing it, she's just like in the zone, just dialed in.
It's kind of funny because they had, even the cameramen weren't ready for her, because they had it set up to the two that were in the lead. I forget who they were.
I think it was Annie and Carrie.
Is that
Carrie,
who it was?
Something Carrie.
So they had the camera set up to her, to those two as they were, but they would like flip it once and then take like 10, 15-second breaks. And then out in the back, you saw Horvath flipping it, and the announcer's like, "Oh my God, I've never seen something." And I'm like, "These two girls aren't doing anything. They're talking about the person, in the top corner that no one's paying attention to." And then finally they get it to her, and then from there she just rips it the whole way down. Didn't stop.
Yeah,
it was impressive.
It's impressive, and I just watched the event 3 from Friday, the inverted handstand one. I don't remember what it was called.
I think it's called the pull.
Inverted medley. Oh,
inverted medley, yeah.
And Danielle Brandon, like she raced out with such confidence. It was just so electrifying because she went out so hot that it was like I just knew she could do it and get away with it, and she totally did, and it was so cool to see. That's why I like watching these things to see. Oh my God, it's amazing.
She did that in like 4 minutes, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Sub 4. Yeah.
Something insane.
It was incredible.
That's interesting because, as Miguel was saying, they have those 10 skills. Like that whole handstand walk that was all like the bottom 4, right? What do you say? Balance, agility, coordination, like all those movements require that. It did require strength, of course, but it's body weight strength. Most CrossFitters are going to have the strength to do it. It's the coordination, the balance, the agility, and then they had those new ones. What are these? The pull-up overs.
Pullovers,
yeah. And just being able to move your body like that. That one was really interesting because we kind of touched on this beforehand. That movement, I know a lot of people have been trying it, and you said it was a little difficult, more than you thought?
Yes.
So I had a very intuitive understanding of how that movement worked because it actually doesn't require a lot of strength. It just requires you to know to get this is going to sound a little bit scientific, but I've learned this because engineering school, they taught us this in physics. You got to get your center of mass over the bar, and your center of mass is usually right below your belly button. So the goal is to do your pull-up and then tuck your legs in and try to get your belly button over the bar. That's all you're trying to do. As soon as you like extend your arms, your belly button gets below the bar. Like if you're still not completely over, your belly button gets below the bar. And then when you try to swing your hips, like if it's at your hip crease, you're never going to get over. Yeah. Try to get your belly button to the bar. And as soon as you do that, you just flip right over.
Yeah. So. It's a weird movement to us because we don't really practice it that much, but Miguel was talking about this too. That's like a basic movement for a lot of gymnasts. And it's not brand new to CrossFit. It's just,
hasn't been done.
Hello, we're here again, and same thing how they threw in those crossover double unders. Like the athletes that are able to do it or adapt or show out with it, like that's just that. I think that's really what it's there for. That's what it's about, you know, like do this, try this in the middle of a competitive workout.
Talk about a curveball though. Those were, I think that might have been the first time though, right? They had never done this before.
I think so. I'm almost as new as to CrossFit as you are, so I think so.
That was, everyone was getting tripped up by that one.
Yeah, but the great moments where like Nick Matthew was able to just figure it out. Boom, boom. That is what I feel like that's what it's for. It's testing for that athlete right there to just, you know, let that skill come forward and give him the edge on the competition, you know?
Yep, that's pretty amazing. Okay, let's go on to yoga.
Yeah.
So you've been doing yoga longer.
Yes.
Than CrossFit. You said
2017. So 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 6 years actually. 6 years I've been a yogi. Wow.
Nice. And you started instructing. What is it? Teaching. Yeah. Teaching since then, or
I started teaching, I think 2019. So
is
4 years.
Is there certifications for that, or is it just like...
Yeah, they're not really regulated like that. Most studios will ask for your, if you want to teach, for your 200-hour certification, which is pretty standard baseline. But since it's not regulated, anybody can create their own their own certification program. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been doing it for 6 years, and you've been an instructor for 4. So how many... Okay, a lot of people perceive yoga as just to be holding positions. Mm-hmm. They don't understand mostly like the spiritual aspect about it. How do you go about explaining that, or how have you gone through and in your experience reached that spirituality through yoga?
I kind of came into yoga with my own spiritual beliefs, and yoga, I think, is for anybody, even if you are an atheist or don't have any spiritual beliefs. But if you do, it's just another tool, you know, like how prayer or meditation is a tool. It's very similar. It becomes a moving meditation. And so for me, it offered me a lot of clarity and space from my thoughts and awareness of my body, which when you're moving through postures, synchronized with your breathing, you're under fatigue and you're sweating, and you're continuing to move through the fatigue, continuing to breathe. It's just like you are so dialed in. It's just like CrossFit, actually, but it's in a different way because it's a slower way. And in CrossFit, we have breaks between movements. In yoga, I mean, you can take child's pose anytime, but in yoga, it's just one posture to the next, and you just got to keep breathing, keep moving. And that level of focus is, I think it's like super healing, you know, and it's super gratifying when you finish the class. And as far as spirituality goes, I just would say it's just super open. I don't know, whatever your belief is, I think it would reinforce that depending on how you're coming into yoga. Because I know there's a lot of religions that consider yoga to be like demonic or pagan. Yeah. And I think that just completely misses the context and culture and history of yoga. I mean, what we have here in the States, in the West, is not at all what yoga used to be. It's a commercial version.
Yeah, it comes from India, right?
Yes.
Yoga originally comes from India.
I think it's Indus-Saraswati River Valley or something like this.
Got it.
Yeah, and it's ancient. It's ancient. Yoga used to just be holding a pose, one pose, for hours or days. And your commitment to holding that posture in your breath is your devotion. That's your discipline. That brings you, that clears everything, that brings you into connection with whatever your spirituality is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I do yoga, I think you're right about being in tuned with your body and your breath. I get that a lot. Unlike CrossFit, it's a little bit slower. Mm-hmm. So you have time to think about those things. Because in the CrossFit workout, you're kind of just going. You're sweating just as much, but it's all about get the workout done. in yoga, it's slower pace, so you have time to focus on your breath and to focus on the pose, focus on your body and your thoughts as well.
I would say yes, but I would also challenge and disagree with that because I think it depends on how you approach CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
Me coming in as a yogi, what I was looking for was the experience I had in yoga. And so to slow everything down while I'm moving and make adjustments to my pace, to my breathing, to my positioning, to my rep scheme mid-workout is very similar to making adjustments and thinking through and analyzing how I'm moving in a yoga class. So to be able to have that clarity of mind while you're doing a challenging workout, I mean, you see some of the best people with the best times take lots of breaks, but they're taking the breaks in advance of knowing that they're going to need them if they don't. So like having that tuned in awareness in a CrossFit workout that you can also take from what you would do in a yoga class, I think would just improve your athleticism.
So this is where the experience of yoga can help somebody in a CrossFit workout.
If you can learn how to slow down your heart rate with a different kind of breath mid-workout, you have a much higher advantage. You have a much higher chance of recovery between movements than the person who's hyperventilating and not getting the same amount of oxygen to their muscles.
Okay. I think I'm going to have to do some yoga then because I'm not concentrating on my breath at all. And then in some situations, I'm pretty sure, especially when we're doing a lift within the workout, there's probably plenty of times I'm not even breathing.
Yeah.
Because I'm straining.
Yeah.
When I probably should be like breathing out and then breathing in.
For me, it's harder with the lifts too. Yeah.
Gotcha. So, okay, next question is, okay, I think we just asked that, sorry. So yoga is known to improve flexibility and strength and balance. Can you share some of your favorite poses that can touch on all of these things?
So I love airplane. It's 1 foot on the ground.
Okay.
The other leg is parallel hovering behind you, and then your chest is hovering parallel in front of you, and your hands are back by your sides or to your heart, or hands reaching forward. I love that so much because it takes a lot of balance and coordination, especially if you're transitioning into it from another posture or out of it to another posture. And it's super strong. Your grounded leg is on fire. Your core is engaged. Your back leg that's floating, your glute, your thigh, your foot is active. Your I think I said core already. Your back is engaged to keep your heart parallel, and your eyes are focused directly to the ground. It's like once you get all those pieces together, you get to find a bit of stillness in that, holding that and strength and breathing into that, and that it's like time stops, and I love that. I also love handstand.
Is handstand obviously it's different from headstand?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, how's it different?
You could call it hand balance. It's just holding a handstand.
Really? Just in handstand. That's difficult.
Dude, it is so cool because it's a similar thing. I mean, like you said, it doesn't take a lot of strength to do the pullover. Handstand, I think, is deceptive because people think they need to be stronger. Well, some people do. But mostly it's just learning how to tolerate more weight into your arms and where to disperse it into your hands. And as your body is swaying one way or another, the small little adjustments that happen in your forearms, your hands, your back, your shoulders, your core to keep you upright, time stops. It's amazing. It's such an addictive feeling.
Is this also where your legs aren't straight up, right?
Legs are straight up.
Oh, they are straight up. That sounds...
And then some people can go from handstand to all these different arm balances, and they do all these different things, which, I mean, it's super hard, but they've broken it down into small enough pieces that they can retain that awareness through transitioning and shifting their weight. Because it's a balance.
It's definitely
We balance on our feet all day long, but we don't have to think about it. So transitioning to balancing on your hands or another part of your body, you're just letting that body part get used to tolerating more of your body's weight without falling.
I see.
Some people can balance on one hand and hold it. I keep trying, but it hasn't happened yet.
How long have you ever timed yourself, or is it not about the time? You just hold it as long as you can?
I have. I don't remember what it was, but it was like over a minute, I think. Yeah.
Of just straight handstand hold.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Oh, it's good. It feels good.
So airplane,
handstand.
Handstand.
Yeah, I love so many others, but I guess if I were to just like spitball, I love Happy Baby.
I like that one too.
It just feels so good.
Yeah.
I once taught that in a jail environment, and the guys just make so many jokes. And so I put them in Happy Baby, and it was like they all got the memo, and they just started making crying baby sounds. It was one of the best teaching moments I think I've ever had.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh man, don't do that in a yoga class though, right?
No. I mean, you can, but no, don't.
The instructor is probably going to kick you out.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting situation.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Actually, you want to know what my favorite? I don't even know if this is a position. My favorite yoga position?
Yes.
I forget what it's called, but what's the position where you just lay on your back after the
Shavasana. That's a good one.
So if there's ever a moment, I want to try to get more into meditating. I haven't looked into it yet, but I think I need it in my life. But that moment right there, every time after a hot yoga class and you get into Shavasana, and then at Warrior One where I used to go, they would walk around and put a cold towel on your forehead. Sleep never comes so quickly in that moment. It's like peace. My body feels better than ever in that moment. And it's like maybe the first 2 or 3 minutes, I'm just feeling how good my body feels. And then after that, it's just I can go straight to sleep. It's that quick.
That is like the magic of yoga. And that is the part of it that's like we so don't really understand. Maybe some people do. I haven't met them yet, but it's just something that happens, and it's just so magical, and I feel like we don't deserve it, but you know, it's so good, and you can't explain it. Like you just feel good, and you can't explain it to anybody else. It's something they have to experience for themselves, and I know exactly what you mean.
Do you meditate at all?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I used to have a much more rigorous practice, but I still do once in a while.
So in the research that I've done for meditation, a lot of people say you need to clear your brain, which is also a little bit difficult to do, right? Because the more you think about clearing your brain, the harder it is to do it. How do you go about meditation?
Honestly, I'm not ashamed of a good old guided meditation on YouTube. But if I am, sometimes I do just want silence and stillness. There's this man that I love. His name is Muji, and I highly recommend anybody look into him. But his teachings have sort of guided me into understanding what it is that you're looking for. Because I feel like once you're used to meditating, there's a certain experience that you have that once you've experienced it a few times, it's easier to find. It's easier to access. It's easier to uncover, I guess would be the proper term. And pretty much what he teaches and what I will do if I'm just by myself in my own silent time trying to be with myself, because that's all meditation is. You're just being with yourself. You're not doing anything. You're not trying to do anything, including trying to stop thinking. You're not trying to get into a meditative state. You're just sitting and you're just being, and you're witnessing your being, whatever that means to you. It's just a space. There's the observer, which is what we are, but we get confused that we're something else, right? With our thoughts, our ideas, our fears, our anxieties, our projections, the ego. And you start witnessing that, even the thoughts that come across. You don't let the thoughts take you. Sometimes you do, and then you remember and come back. And with enough practice, you're just sitting there and you're just being. And that's it. That's the best way to describe it. You're just sitting and being.
Wow.
Just being.
Yeah. So when you're meditating and you do have the internal voice, because I know what you're talking about, the thoughts in your head, you kind of look at it as a third person looking at those thoughts, even though they're your thoughts.
Yes.
But you're kind of stepping back and being like, just let them ramble until they kind of slowly go away.
One analogy that I've heard that I really like is if you're witnessing a crime, you don't step into the scene of the crime because now you're involved.
Okay.
You just stand back and witness, and that's kind of the thoughts that come through. You don't entertain them. You don't take them to tea. Somebody said, and I like that. They're just there. They're going to be there. They're never not going to be there.
Got it.
But we don't identify with them.
Yep. I know exactly what you mean. I never thought about my thoughts, my rambling thoughts in my head, being a third person, like being someone not me,
Yeah.
you know?
Your brain is just doing what it does.
Yeah, technically it's you, but it's cool how you can separate that in your head.
It's the personality you. It's not the you. The personality you is going to change over time. It's not consistent. It's not everlasting. The everlasting you is the space that you occupy and witness the personality you.
It's like a higher level of you.
Yeah,
it's like you looking down on all these other things, all these other egos, all these other personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
There's this video, or there's a bunch, Invitation to Freedom by Muji, and he just asks prompting questions which help you understand like the space that you are already. And he's just like, what is this? Does it have a gender? Is it man or woman? I mean, that's, I guess, gender, but has it been born? Can it die? Can it be contained? Is it a shape? You know, and in sitting and feeling through your own response, your natural innate responses to these questions, you access the space.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to try this.
Do it.
Because my meditation is the way I actually do think of something, but it's a very calming thing. Yeah. And this is right up my alley. Just look at my shirt. I imagine myself literally floating in space, bodiless. Mm. So if you've ever watched the movie 2001 Space Odyssey, the Star Baby, I kind of think of myself almost like that, but not even having a form or a body. I'm just literally floating in almost darkness. I still imagine stars and galaxies, but I just imagine being in the most isolated parts of space, seeing all these things from the furthest distance I possibly can.
It's the same thing.
Just floating. That's it. And actually all the noise goes away. All the thoughts and, all the things going on in my head, they're silent. And I just feel this. It's great.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same
And
concept.
I need to do it more often because it can get in your head sometimes, man.
Yeah.
And you got to remind yourself that, calm down. These things, you're probably overthinking everything right now.
Yeah, I feel like if we're in our head for more than 5 minutes, which is even already long enough time, it's just lies and BS and schemes and fear. Yep. It's not real.
You're coming up with,
yeah,
things that aren't real, things that aren't even happening. Worried about stuff that's probably.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of that lately.
This is why we meditate, though. This is why we go to yoga. And I will continue to do it, or I'll continue to try to meditate is what I'm trying to do. So, okay. So let's move on to sobriety.
Okay.
Yeah. So take us through your journey to sobriety. What prompted this? Was there an event that happened, or?
It was more so a series of unfortunate events, all caused by myself. It's a super long story, so in trying to keep it concise, for a while I was just using drugs, hard drugs. I was using intravenously several times a day, every day.
Intravenously?
Yeah.
This is needles.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I was homeless. I was a prostitute walking on the streets. Yeah, of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, no.
It's what I wanted because I just wanted, I don't know, somehow I tricked myself into believing that that's what I wanted. I didn't realize how hurt and sad I was. And then through my behaviors trying to access more drugs, have more experiences, to align with my identity at that time, I was completely alienated from my family by my own doing. My mother didn't want me to call her or talk to her. I basically forgot I even had a family for a number of years. They never even entered my mind. Same with my friends. They kind of were, done with me. But I went to a few rehabs. I didn't ever really want to go. I went to jail for 2.5 months one time. And I was trying to make it work. And it just finally got to the point where it was enough is enough. Not even the people I did drugs with would answer my calls or want to hang out with me. And so I felt like I was at a crossroads, and I decided I could keep going with even less resources than when I came into this, and if I got into a cycle of trying to make that work, I knew I could be going down that road probably for the rest of my life, or I could take the opportunity in that moment of clarity to try to just get my shit together. And I decided to do that. And that's sort of what brought me up here, because my mom had moved up here to Central Florida. And
are you from South Florida? Is this where all this happened? Yeah, I'm from there too,
South
dude.
Florida.
That's a hard place to get consumed by that world.
It is, and I wasn't able to keep it together down there, even when I had moments where I did want to, because I just had done too much with too many people I knew where everybody lived. You could walk, and I would just, anyway. So I came up here, and I didn't do it perfectly, but I did my best, and I got clean, like zero anything, no alcohol, no marijuana, almost 5 years ago. So in October, it'll be 5 full years of complete abstinence from everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so good.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's been wild.
Well, you kind of have to, be grateful and that you were able to pull yourself out of that. There's a lot of people that can't do it.
I know.
From how low it seems you were.
Yeah.
I think you beat the odds.
I did.
Pulling yourself out.
And I'm very active in recovery communities now, and it's really bewildering to see. I mean, there's even people that I've used with that still are out there 7 years later doing the same 3 things every single day, and a lot of people have died, and a lot of people, go to jail for very long periods of time. And I was like, this is kind of why my spirituality is there, because by all accounts, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be able to have the life that I have today. But yeah, I do feel very grateful. It was a lot of work. It still is a lot of work to maintain it. But it was definitely a complete change of lifestyle.
That's good. And, it didn't happen on a dime though, right? It took progression to...
The moment where I knew I wanted to stop happened kind of quickly. And then from there, it does feel like everything changed. But obviously, certain changes require a lot of work and a lot of awareness and a lot of failing and trying and grace and patience and all of that stuff. And I think I'm gonna be in that for the rest of my life, that part of it. But yeah, getting to here where I'm the person I am, where I can be a coach to people, I can be a yoga instructor, where people trust me with keys to their businesses and their homes or around their animals or their family members, like that would, I don't remember where I was going with that, but
that sense of responsibility kind of keeps you in check, like people are trusting you and
I love being consistent, because people would look at me like I was going to steal something, from their home or from the store or whatever. Like I was that guy. And now I have this reputation of showing up and helping others and being 100% present, and putting my stuff to the side if it comes to, being at work or something like that. Like I like that reputation. It makes me feel really good about myself.
That is good. Yeah. This is one thing about me too. I don't know if you're the same way. It makes you feel good to help other people.
100%.
Like one of the best feelings is, helping someone and knowing you helped them. Mm-hmm. It just, if you're ever feeling low, go help somebody. For real.
Yeah. And that's something we say in the recovery communities all the time is, you keep what you have by giving it away. And often when you give it away, you receive back tenfold, just by, if you're stuck in yourself, doing something for somebody else gets you right out of it. Like,
yep. And those people will remember it too.
Yeah.
You'll get that good reputation, and then they'll start doing nice things to you. And then that just, it's a good cycle, It
is.
Pay it forward, whatever you want to call it.
It is, 100%.
Wow. I'm sorry, man. I didn't,
I
didn't realize it was this intense.
It's very intense. Yeah, and I kind of like that about it, because I have that chaotic, side to me, which I'm aware of, and I enjoy it sometimes in moderation.
But it's good that you're aware of it, and maybe you can even leverage it towards CrossFit.
I do. Yeah, I am very anal about my passions and my hobbies and my schedule. I write down hour by hour what I do every day. I don't know when that came out, but I think it's a product of all of the chaos. I want to do it all.
That's great.
I want the fullest, most satisfying, most gratifying life I could possibly have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like you probably have a better joy of life now that you were. Like people that hit lows or go through crazy traumas, you know, they have a different outlook than people who didn't go through those things, right? Sometimes, and not all the time, right? They're going to still be struggles, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But if you know where you were and where you are now, you have this better outlook on life and be like, I got myself out of that. Mm-hmm. You know, I can enjoy this cup of coffee. I can enjoy this.
Yeah. It makes those moments of peace so much more delicious.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's awesome, man. I'm super happy for you.
Thank you.
And now I support my sobriety story is not even anywhere near.
I'll tell you what, when I find out that somebody decided to be sober or to quit drinking or pot or whatever for the reason that they just wanted to, or they had some other, where their life wasn't falling apart, you know, that to me is like the most validating thing that I don't know. It's just such a good feeling because it's like other people value this, you know, other people, they don't need their life to fall apart to take a look at themselves or to consider what role this might be playing in their life. And it makes me feel really comfortable. Yeah, it's just so cool. It feels like like allyship in a way.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it because to me, being sober is been one of the best things. And then I'm just started being sober. I wanted to do it January, starting this year, and I did. But then I had a cruise already booked, and I was like, well, I paid $300 for it.
Yeah.
I could have done it then, but you know, I wasn't. I wanted to get my money's worth, and I did. So since April 1st, when I got back from that cruise, that's when I started. And it has helped me sleep better. Like days, I still go out with friends, you know, to the bars and stuff like that, and I still hang out, but I won't drink. Simply won't. And it's pretty difficult because once I tell them I don't drink,
it gets weird.
Yeah, and then it's just like for you, it's probably even weirder because they don't know.
Yeah.
You know, now they're gonna know. But before when they don't know, for me, it's just kind of annoying, right? It's just like, no, I gotta tell them, no, I can't do it. This is why, and they, you know, for you have to go into this whole explanation about why you stopped.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I feel like it's one of those things where more people are learning that if somebody says, no, I'm not drinking tonight, then that's period.
So maybe you shouldn't
that's
push
the end of
it,
the conversation.
Right? Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that often, though. I don't go out often.
You try to stay away from those kinds of...
It's not that I try to. I try to put myself in that situation more than I probably should. Because I do love to dance. I do love to go out. And I do love that energy, that atmosphere. I don't think that's ever going to change. But I also love my life now. And if I'm out to 1 a.m., I'm not able to really meet the expectations I have for the next day. Depending on the schedule, you know, or if I even feel like going out now. But it is hard depending on the crowd. Like if I'm out with other people who are in recovery, it's a great time because we're all kind of there together. But I've been out with people who aren't in recovery, and that's something I would really like to figure out a little bit more because it makes it weird for me. It makes it very weird. Like I have to have a reason to be there.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be using or drinking or anything like that. So it's either I'm feeling like dancing, you know, or I'm there with people that I know and enjoy who are not going to make me the only sober person in the group.
Exactly. And this is why I still go out. It's just mostly to hang out with friends.
Right.
To stay social.
Right,
you know?
right.
That's the only reason. I wish we would do something like, I don't know, bowl. Or, you know,
Parcheesi.
Yeah. Actually, I do like board games.
Yeah.
That stuff is fun, but it's mostly just to stay social because that's what people do. You know, they go out and drink, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, you're right. Meeting the expectations that you set for yourself the next day. Mm-hmm. You know, I knew I wanted to start this podcast, and I knew it would be twice as hard if I will go out, drink, and then have to do this thing the next day. Just yesterday, I was hanging out with some friends, and they were drinking. Mm-hmm. And I was, you know, I wanted to see them, so I still came out, but I was like, no, I got to get ready for Bryce. I got Bryce tomorrow. And, you know, I left, and they continued to go out, which is fine, you know. But at least I got to see my friends, right?
Do you feel left out in those situations?
There are times when I do, absolutely.
That's a hard thing.
11-year anniversary party.
Oh, I was there, but I had to leave early, honestly, because I was
remember.
like, this is not for me. I wanted it to be.
Yeah. That was the hardest moment to not drink.
Yeah.
That was a real, even more than going to Miami. I went to Miami like, was it before or after? Sometime around the same time. And there's even crazier stuff happening, but
Yeah.
I felt no desire down there.
You can go anywhere in Miami. You can do whatever you want in Miami at any time, you know?
Exactly. But this party,
Mm-hmm.
I just saw how much fun everyone was having, especially with the flip cup and the little
Mm-hmm.
swimming thing. I was like, man, I can go over there with my bottle of water, but I know I'm going to get,
Yeah.
an earful. But I made up for that in a housewarming party that I went to within a person in Cebu.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, they had a similar thing where they had the flip cup and they had the slide.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck that, I'm going.
Yeah.
And I did it.
Yeah.
And it was fine. No one actually said anything, which was great.
Most people don't care,
Yeah.
but
you got the little voices in your head, tell me.
I find for me, because I have my shit with recovery and my past, I don't really know what to do. I won't lie. Like, I want to be invited, but I don't want people to think I'm going to drink and then like make me feel weird about it if I don't. I don't know who knows. I don't know who doesn't know. Mm-hmm. Would they be cool if I just joined with a cup of water, because I want to play, I want to feel a part of, but at the same time, I don't want to put myself at risk, And so it's like, it's a weird feeling sometimes.
So here's why this podcast is good.
Yeah.
You can explain it once and just show it to everyone and be like, you want to get to know me a little better as Bryce? Listen to this podcast. Yeah. And then from then on, people will know, okay. You don't have to explain it every single time.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with, the people at Cebu. I'm pretty sure a good chunk are going to watch this.
I definitely have wanted to get closer to the people at Cebu. But like I said, I'm a little bit shy. And for the most part, I come in during open gym too. And I don't really know. Like, I don't know. It's a desire that I have. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to go about it all the time.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it may not seem like it, but I'm actually pretty introverted as well.
Yeah.
And I force myself out there. But when I'm in a situation where I don't know anybody, especially when I first started Super, I was quiet. I didn't say anything to anybody.
If I don't know anybody and the socializing involves a lot of drinking, that's not a situation that I'm like comfortable putting myself out there in. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of cool that, people would, I guess, watch this and get that better understanding. Yeah. I don't know.
They will. They'll get a better understanding. And I know a decent amount of people in, Cebu, so I can just be like, explain it now. Be like, we're going to start inviting Bryce out. We're going to actually give him invitations. And give him his bottle of water.
My bottle of water.
Don't worry, I'll be there right there with you, man.
Sparkling with a lime, please. In a wine glass.
Yeah, actually, I've always liked it, but now it's seltzer water. So a good little, and you probably already know about this. A good tactic if you're out drinking with people is order seltzer water with a lime. Mm-hmm. And then no one asks you.
Yep.
Yeah. And you're sitting there thinking, you could be like,
exactly.
Student dancing, they will not know, man.
Yeah.
They will not know.
Always have a drink in your hand, and it's like,
yeah, and it looks
nothing's
like
wrong here.
Yeah. It's a vodka soda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, Bryce, I think we neared an hour, but
sweet.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Good to get to know you.
You too. Thank you for inviting me to do this.
Of course.
I appreciate it.